So I'll start off by saying that I titled this video Something Silly I Had to Work On because I think in life you kind of just have to laugh about things sometimes. And the topic I'm going to discuss was one, ironic for me personally, and two, ironic in general. But it can be a common problem, especially for avoidance when it comes to reprogramming and personal growth work. My name is Sarah Whaling, and I'm a certified coach. I assist my clients in healing childhood trauma and neglect, healing their attachment styles, healing from relationships with people with personality disorders, and addressing everyday pain points, healing at the root, the subconscious mind, which is how we truly heal from trauma and change the brain. I combine my professional knowledge with my personal experience of what actually works. So, jumping right in, one thing that I had to work on when I was doing my reprogramming routines was feeling trapped at times when I was doing them. This is obviously something that people with the core wound, I am trapped, can experience, especially in a more regimented routine. And it's one core wound that can really get in the way of healing work. Now, this was not all the time for me, and really not even most of the time, because one of my biggest personality needs is actually personal growth. And the truth is, reprogramming routines actually feel pretty good to do because you're basically eliciting positive emotion, the opposite of whatever you're reprogramming, to heal core wounds and limiting beliefs. But I noticed that there was a smaller portion of the time that I would start to feel negative emotions during my healing work. So I think it's notable how strong core wounds can be because they absolutely can get in the way of personality needs. And it's one reason some people don't fill certain needs cups that they have. So obviously, even if just a portion of the time, if I was experiencing regularly such negative output for doing one of the things that I needed and wanted to be doing, it wasn't good and it needed to be addressed. Now, I got very attuned to my emotions over time of practicing purposefully noticing them and inquiring. If I felt a negative emotion, I would witness it and I would ask myself, what is this about? One of the most important things that you can start to do is pay attention to your emotions. Emotions are always feedback telling us something important. They're literally never a bad thing. You can think of them as a guiding light and need to know information. The more that you know, the better off you are when it comes to the facets of your mind because we can't heal until we know what is there. Emotions could be alerting us of a boundary that we need to pay attention to. They could be alerting us of a painful thought that we just had seconds before. They could be telling us that for whatever reason, something doesn't feel right. Let's say that we get triggered by something and maybe our emotions are kind of strong for the situation. The emotions themselves are still not wrong. In this case, our emotions would be alerting us to something that we probably need to do some healing work around. So one day I was on a walk and doing a reprogramming routine during the walk, and I experienced a little tinge of a triggering feeling, maybe a little sadness, maybe a little anxiety, and this feeling that things were kind of closing in. So immediately I rewound the clock a little and I asked myself what I had been thinking about in tandem with the things that I was working through. I asked myself why I wasn't enjoying something that I generally enjoyed and knew I needed to do and wanted to be present for. I started realizing the pattern of emotions and what it meant. It was my core wound, I am trapped. And I realized that I was feeling trapped because I had told myself I was going to do a couple more laps and then go inside and do other things I had planned on doing that day. It was a sensible allotment of time, but that core wound reared its head. Now, at the time, I had obviously been working on a different core wound altogether, but I switched it up to quickly address what was going on because, let's be honest, if you're feeling badly, you're not going to be utilizing these other positive emotions to reprogram things. One thing to utilize if you're feeling negative emotions for immediate relief is to question any painful thoughts that you're having, i.e., ask yourself, is there another possibility than this thought that I'm having right now? Then you want to meet any unmet needs. Now, why do we do these two things? Because emotional pain is only caused by two things. The first one is painful stories, and the second one is unmet needs. So I did the first one, a form of questioning my story. I started doing a reprogramming routine on the I am trapped core wound. I am trapped is a huge core wound for fearful avoidants, a big majority of them, followed by dismissive avoidance. So, how do you reprogram the I am trapped core wound? You want to get in the prime state for reprogramming, which is a more relaxed state, alpha and theta brainwaves. For me, what works is staring off into space for a bit and then feeling my brain sort of reach a near sleep level. I do this in little microbursts on a walk, and this is one of the ways I prepare my brainwave state to do reprogramming work. Hypnotherapists take their clients to the cusp of alpha and theta, so basically you're just kind of hypnotizing yourself, which allows you to basically reach your subconscious mind to reprogram properly. On my walk, I asked myself, how am I free? I looked in many areas of life and many things that I wasn't paying any attention to. If you do have a core wound, your mind will many times gloss over things that don't match up with it. It kind of puts a hole in your cup of that personal need. On my walk, I asked myself, how am I free? I looked in many areas of life and many things that I wasn't paying any attention to. If you do have a core wound, your mind will many times gloss over things that don't match up with it. It kind of puts a hole in your cup of that personal need. Your RAS, short for reticular activating system, which in short is what our attention is drawn to, will be drawn to things that our subconscious mind is programmed with. It actually starts to help us reprogram deeper in our day-to-day lives once we start a regular reprogramming routine. When you have a core wound, you have to begin with pointing out to yourself the opposite. This means pointing out to your subconscious mind the opposite. So you want to look in your life for the opposite of I am trapped. You can ask yourself, where do you have personal freedom? Among the things that I purposefully noticed and felt about, because that is how you notice it on a subconscious level, were I can choose when to go on walks. I can choose to be healthy and only choose healthy food to put in my body. I can choose my own beliefs and thoughts. I have the freedom and self-empowerment to do all the personal growth work and reprogramming that I want and take my power back from traumas I've experienced. From moment to moment, I can choose how I want my day to go. I ended my reprogramming noting I can choose to go inside right now. And something happened after getting a good reprogramming of this core wound in. I definitely felt relief. And I also felt empowered because I knew I had and was going to do something to eliminate this feeling altogether eventually. It cannot be stated enough how important it is to inquire on any negative feelings that you have throughout the day. If you're feeling a bit down, ask yourself what you were just thinking about and why it could be possibly making you feel that way if it's something that's buried. I hope this video has been helpful today, and if you're looking for a single appointment or ongoing assistance, please visit my website and send a message via the contact page. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you're new, welcome, and if you've been here before, thank you so much for your continued engagement.